If you ever get this letter, you will know that your parents splitting up was the right decision because your first memories of them fighting while you and your sister played with paint on a spin art and tried to become invisible. You will agree that broken homes can make or break the kids that grow up in them, fighting as hard as they can to survive the constant struggle of trying to make both their parents proud. You will crumble any time the clock reads 9:11, thinking of how confused you were that so many students were getting to go home early, wondering why there was a lockdown until you got home and watched the planes hit over and over again on the news, listening to the confused chatter of the news anchors and crying for people you'd never met. You will be angry at yourself for all the times you asked to leave the hospital, nausea got the best of you, didn't plead hard enough with your mom to see him that Wednesday, not answering the phone that night because all day you knew your grandpa was going to die. You will dwell on the naivety of the notion that your sixth grade bestie would be there after graduation, holding your hand as you held hers, lifting you up when you needed it most, driving across the globe to amputate your leg if she knew it would save your life, no matter how many obstacles she had to overcome. If you ever get this letter, you will read the story of how you tripped up the steps the first day of high school, how you almost dropped all your books, but somehow managed to save them and yourself from making a complete nosedive. You will remember how you got asked by what seemed a million people if you related not to your sister, but to the guy who had a locker next to yours, didn't even look like you, was also a freshman, and who just happened to have the same surname. You will smile at the thought of the mental map you drew, gathering dust in the corners of your mind, labeling each hallway and classroom by what friend's lockers was closest, routing the fastest paths to lunch, class, and the counselor's office, and the slowest possible path to the principal's. It might make you wonder if those spitballs the guys used to shoot were still trapped on the ceiling of Mr. Whitty's classroom, if the dean still wore those heels that could be heard from any classroom down the hall she was walking, if she still yelled at people for sleeping in class who would respond by falling asleep precisely 2 minutes after she left, and if she still gave speeding tickets to people who sped down the halls popping wheelies in the wheelchair they had to use after having surgery on their feet. You may marvel that despite all the notes you passed discussing who was the best looking guy on the football team, though you wasted countless class hours writing poems, vandalizing the name of a senior, crushed your poor little 15-year-old foolish heart, that you never got caught copying off your classmates' history homework. And even with all the studying you neglected to do because there was a new episode of Glee on, you managed to pass all your classes with flying colors. It may strike you as odd that you find yourself missing the locker space you once said was too small. French fries from that day at lunch French fries every day at lunch sizzling in the large stainless steel buckets they were served from, perfectly crisp, with an endless supply of ketchup, homework reading assignments that vexed your mind and caused you to think. The ugly hard green chairs that you would fall asleep on during late rehearsal nights, playing dress-up in the costume department located in the school's basement, then sending pictures of the outfits to your teacher via text. Getting holiday treats from the lunch ladies, unlimited access to the school's copier, well, to those of us who had a teacher's code, and a whole hour of the day, gruesome though it may have been at the time, set aside for exercise. Just how in the world did you make it through your senior year? If you ever get this letter, you will gleam knowing you spent a whole year, stayed away from your family, going to college full-time, making new friends, the apprentissage en poule de français, taking a piano class, and getting one step closer to composing music for your lyrics. You will laugh at all the first dates you went on that went horribly wrong because the mysterious guy you met at work was way too old for you. Coffee guy's favorite color was pink. Composer guy just couldn't compose a proper kiss. Music man never took you out during the day. Or hockey guy who said he wanted you, then didn't, then did, then didn't, then never called again. You will feel remorse at how you treated your cousin, laughing at her behind her back, making jokes with your friends, calling her mean names because she did and said things you did not like, taking out anger on her not just because of the things she could control, but also the things she couldn't, and leaving in the middle of the night with only a note saying goodbye. You will be saddened by the struggles you had with your mother about how you treated her family, looking out into the audience for your summer play and not seeing her face, all the hurtful text messages telling you that she doesn't want you or your siblings in her life anymore. The silly notion you had that one day you could have a happy, healthy, loving relationship that didn't consist of complaining about everything that's wrong in your lives, but rather all that you're thankful for, which seemed to be the farthest from the reality. If you ever get this letter, You will be elated over 3 little kids, 2 girls and a boy, fighting over who got to sit next to you at dinner, anxious to get their pictures taken with you, whispering secrets in your ears that consisted of 3 little words: I love you. You will be thankful for a place to stay, a home filled with love and laughter and conversation, a room of your own where you could escape all your problems, making a chore list, eating dinner together, discussing how everyone's day went, praying before bed on the mattress, the first mattress that you have ever had, the full ownership of. You will realize life isn't so bad if you have the right people in it. Making connections with others is key. There's only one way to get through it: by being the best you can be. And what you wanted most to write of: you were loved.